We should be live. I don't know. Should we wait a second and see if we get some people in here? Because I have 0 views right now.
Yeah, we'll just do the run through. You know, we're not so concerned about views right now as we are just building the flow.
It's true. Okay, I actually wanted to see if I could view it on YouTube at the same time, but it's not.
Yep, we're live. I see it on LinkedIn. Let's roll.
Didn't pop up on Facebook.
Okay. All right, guys, here we go. We're going live. All right. Welcome to BISH'S RV live stream. Today we've got Jake, brand manager Jake, and Mason with us. Today we're going to be talking about the GoPlay series travel trailer. Brand new, first ever release, exclusive to BISH'S RV. So we brought in the experts today, and we wanted to ask them some of the top asked questions that we were getting back for feedback on the GoPlay units. So we're going to go ahead and get going. So one of the first questions that we're always asked, and that a lot of customers want to know, is how is the GoPlay so much cheaper than comparable models? So we're going to go ahead and pass this over to Mason, and Mason's going to explain to us why the GoPlay is so much cheaper.
Right on. Thank you, Jordan. That's a great question. It's a great question. I was really hoping that somebody would ask. Because I think it's a hefty part of the GoPlay story, and to understand our brand, you need to ask this question once or twice. Now it's a question I like to unpack, so bear with me if you can. We're gonna do a deep dive into I guess RV. You're gonna get a master class in RV manufacturing, but that's really what it boils down to here, folks. We understood that prices are ever increasing, and you know, we feel that a lot as well, even on the dealer side. And so what we wanted to do was take a much more creative approach with the manufacturer and say, hey, how can we reduce costs on these so that we can pass much more aggressive savings on to our end customers, right? And the answer was, well, we can strip it of features, right? We can de-feature, de-content is what it's called, and that's the status quo in the RV industry when it comes to decreasing cost, right? If volume isn't as high or whatever, people want to see lower price points, then manufacturers start to strip features such as like an underbelly cover, or maybe outdoor speakers, or maybe an oven and so forth. They'll remove features in order to drive the cost down. And we were not okay with that, because the last thing we wanted to do was compromise the overall quality, the overall experience that people were getting with these for the sake of driving down that cost. So what we did is we focused on 3 primary things when it came to manufacturing these. And that was, we focused on optimizing the bill of materials, right? Standardizing production, and then specialization in production. And let me unpack those 3 real quick. So when it comes to a bill of material, anything in regards to manufacturing, whether it's a pencil, whether it's a car, whether it's a shirt, what have you, everything has a bill of materials. Our GoPlay travel trailers, they have a bill of materials. It's essentially the production recipe. And so what we did is we did a deep dive into that bill of material and say, you know what, we're seeing that we've got a lot of different SKUs in the window, you know, category on our travel trailers, and there's no reason why we should have this different SKU of a window and this different SKU of a window. Let's just streamline this and make it all the same, right? So we stripped out the differentiating factors amongst similar components, like the window, for example. And that's why I say we standardize things, right? So we did a deep dive into the bill of materials, standardize things. That way we could order more of the same components and give our manufacturer a lot more leveraging ground when it came to negotiating with the component vendors, right? And so that alone built a massive amount of trust between us, our manufacturing partners, as well as our vendors, which in turn allowed us to save a lot of money when it came to overall parts. Now, the second thing I mentioned was specialization, right? So one thing that we're pursuing on GoPlay is large production runs, okay? Very large production runs. So when we run any specific floor plan, for instance, this is a 26 RLS, we run it in a very large production run, and we want to shut down that production plant and exclusively build out GoPlays for as long as we possibly can. Okay. Now, what that does is it allows the line workers in the production facility to become very, very good at their particular job. So not only are they, with every run getting better and better and better, their margin for error decreases, which means, a stagnant time in the line significantly decreases, because if ever anybody makes a mistake, you have to stop production, right? And you have to fix the mistake, which means when you stop production, that line stops, you're not producing as many units, which means, right, price per unit goes up. So as we specialize, allow our workers to specialize, become great at what their job is, we're reducing that margin for error, and we're able to produce more while optimizing, right, quality assurance and driving costs down simultaneously, which in turn obviously means that we can produce these for cheaper. So those are the three things that we did, right? Deep dive into the bill of materials, optimized, right, the bill of materials, allow our workers to specialize in what they're making, and then obviously we standardized the bill of materials. So that's how we were able to drive costs down. That's why these things are so much less expensive than the alternative. We're not decontenting. We're just taking a much more tenacious and creative approach to the manufacturing process, Jordan. You're muted, Jordan. We can't hear you.
Thanks, Mason. Appreciate that. What a wonderful insight. Hopefully that helps people understand a little bit on how we're able to get this cost of the RV down so much. Second question we get a lot of, we're going to toss it over here to JB, is why did we choose the floor plans that we did? So, JB, what's your insight here?
Awesome, guys. Hope you can hear me. I don't have ear pods or anything like that. So, floor plans. Well, easy answer to that. Popularity and functionality. But we dove into the historicals of the RV industry to get these answers, right? So 26 BHS and the 26 BH, number one and number two all-time favorites of America, right? So we wanted to create those. One, again, with the 8 favorite floor plans, like Mason said, it streamlines the process. Makes it much easier for everything. Makes it a smooth process. Less mistakes, all these things. But functionality and popularity throughout the RV industry history is why we chose the 8 floor plans that we got. The 26 RLS, the 26 BHS, the 26 BH, 19 BH, 180 BHS, 263 TH. Did I miss any? 20 MB, 20 FBS. All those floor plans are America's favorite floor plans. They're very functional and very popular, and that's why we chose those. Very short and sweet, to the point. But Mace, you have anything you want to add on that? I think I hit it.
Yeah, no, I think you hit it right on the head, JB. The only thing that I would share is in aligning with what JB is saying, folks, we did a deep dive into RV sales in the U.S., specifically in this segment, right, which is the stick and tin segment, or the entry-level segment, right? And we found that across all RV sales in America, and we looked at everything, folks. We looked at motorhomes. We looked at fifth wheels, right? We looked at like overlanding. We looked at everything. And we found that 85% of all RV sales exist within this entry-level stick and tin segment. And then within that segment, 70% of all stick and tin sales exist across these 8 floor plans, right? So just a little bit of, I guess, stats that I'm throwing into there along with what JB is saying, but, he's absolutely on point as far as America's favorite, and the numbers back that entirely, and we wanted to become great at what people buy. Thanks, JB.
Thank you.
Awesome, guys. So yeah, hopefully that gives you some insight into why we chose the floor plans that we did. And it's all based off of customer feedback and proven sales data that these are the units that most people want. So it's those experienced RV users that come back and say, you know what, this floor plan didn't meet my needs, but this one does. And so that's what we're trying to do, is eliminate that step for you guys and get you right into the unit we think will be best for you. Moving on to our next most asked question is, obviously people want to know, what is your favorite exterior feature of this RV? So let's go ahead and go back to JB on this one, where he's outside the RV right now.
What
JB,
exterior?
take us through.
Can I give you like 4?
We can give us a few. Give us your tops.
Okay, well, since we're on the top, I'm going to start on the top. The top of the RV is the roofing system. Why is this my favorite? Well, 2 reasons. This has PVC membrane on top. PVC membrane is usually seen in the upper models like fifth wheels, luxury models. Why did we choose PVC? A couple reasons. Well, 1, it is 88% reflective of UV light and radiation. So what does that mean? And what does that do for you? What that does is this thing has less radiant heat coming through the roofing system itself. So with that PVC membrane is reflecting it off, getting less heat into the trailer itself. Number 2 on the roof is a Magnum roof system. What that is 16 inches apart. We have trusses every 16 inches on center. And this thing has 3/8 OSB, treated OSB on top of this thing. You can park a Jeep up there. Now, I don't recommend it. It's 4,500 pound limit, yes, but that's for snow load, trees that might fall, branches that might fall. And you know, with the PVC, it's less puncturable by that. So you have less maintenance over time. It's a big, big plus on this level of travel trailer. Entry level, you ain't gonna see that a lot. You're gonna see a lot of EPDM, which is the puncture rate's way higher than PVC. Now, it is a little more expensive, but the way we cut costs, guys, you ain't gonna see that. I guess you ain't gonna see that, incur that cost. We're taking that out by cutting out the middleman and the 3 things that Mason and mentioned earlier. Number 2, I'm gonna go walking on the side here. Well, we can stay on the front side. Stick and tin. Well, like Mason was saying, the decontenting piece. Okay, this is gonna be bear with me. It's a little hard to explain. On the side of this thing, there are 9 pieces of metal. A lot of the competitors, sorry here, I'm gonna try and get there we go. A lot of competitors are gonna have 1 to 4 pieces. Now, what does this do? Shorter equals more rigid, right? Less warping, less waving, less denting. Also, guys, this is 0.24 to 0.27 thickness versus the industry average that we've been seeing out there, about 0.9. So this is a thicker gauge metal.
Dang it.
It's gonna last better. It's gonna last better through hailstorms. You know, the uncle that may have drank maybe too much and bumps into it, or backing up and hitting a tree branch or anything like that. This is gonna last a lot longer, especially against baseballs when you're throwing, playing catch and stuff like that. So that's a number 2 feature I really like. And the last feature, I'm gonna get down and dirty in here. In this level of travel trailer, you're not gonna see this. And what this is a heated and enclosed underbelly. It's hard to see. Got Jake helping me out here, but there we go. That decontenting piece. What does decontenting mean? This might not even be under here. You got tanks, you got water lines, you got electrical lines. There's a lot of precious materials up in here, sensitive materials. If a rock or something, a tire or blowout, something comes up and takes out a water line or a brake line that's back here, major no-no, not good for you guys. So make sure you guys have this if you're looking at other models, because it saves a lot. Plus, it's heated. You're not going to see a lot of heated and enclosed underbellies on this entry-level travel trailers. This is a big, big deal, and at our price point, that is almost unbeatable, guys. You need to check for that, ask for that. Big, big plus. So, roofing material and roofing strength. Material on the side, 10 panels. If you have 1 to 4 panels, be sure you're going to make sure it's thick enough, because otherwise it's going to have major problems with warping, denting, and all that. Also, heated and enclosed underbelly, be sure to check for that, because this thing could save you a lot in the long run. Critters getting up in here, something road debris and it taking out a brake line. Make sure you guys have that. So 3 big pluses on the exterior feature of the GoPlay. Hopefully that helps out and answers some questions for you guys.
Awesome, JB. Thanks so much for that. Love it. From top to bottom, you got the full view. Enclosed underbelly, reinforced roof. It's got you covered. Very nice. So our next question, we're going to toss back to my man Mason. So Mason, you're inside the unit, nice and cozy in there, I'm sure.
Very
what
cool.
are your favorite interior features here, man?
Great question. Hard to deliver on, just because there's so many. One thing I'll hit though is, I guess it's an interior, it's kind of a interior exterior piece, but is the width of our GoPlay travel trailers. The width of our GoPlay travel trailers is 8 feet wide from top to bottom. Doesn't matter if you're in a tandem axle or a single axle. And that's huge, folks, because industry standard for single axle coaches is 7 foot wide, 7 to 7.5 feet wide. And we're at 8 feet wide, regardless of whether we're in single or tandem. All of our GoPlays are 8 feet wide. That's huge, folks, especially if you take into account like our smallest coach, which is the 180 BHS, okay? 180, 18, right? The first two numbers indicate the length of your trailer. So it's an 18-foot long coach. But when you take that extra foot of width across a length of 18 feet, right? And then you take into account the 6'9", ceiling height. I mean, that's a significant difference as far as overall cubic volume inside when it comes to like your square footage and functional space. I mean, it's the difference of like a storage shed in our smallest unit, you guys. So 8 feet wide versus a standard 7 is massive. Now, another great interior feature I want to point out here is our floor. Okay. Now, floor is a floor, right? Well, it's not the case in our GoPlay travel trailers. What we're looking at here is not, a vinyl, which is typically what you're going to find on travel trailers, especially in the stick and tin segment, like our GoPlays. This is not a vinyl though. We went with a residential luxury grade linoleum. It's called Congolium linoleum, folks. And the reason why we did that leads me to my other favorite interior feature. And Jake's getting a good shot of it right now though, Jake. Check out this right here. Right? That's a flush floor kitchen slide. So all of our units that have a slide, all of our GoPlays that have a slide, that includes the 26 RLS and the 26 BHS. And pardon me, when I say all of our units that have a slide, I mean all of our tandem coaches that have a slide have a flush floor kitchen slide. And the reason why we went with the Congolium linoleum is that was a non-negotiable for us. We didn't want lip slides, right? We didn't want people tripping, trying to carry their babies, their dogs, what have you, getting into the dinette, stubbing their toes. That wasn't acceptable for us, right? So we said, hey, we got to have a flush floor kitchen slide. And one of the number one issues with vinyl is that once you implement a flush floor slide, your vinyl begins to tear because there's a lot more stress points with a flush floor slide, as there's much more friction and contact between the upper deck of that slide and your floor, right? And vinyl, it's notorious for cracking, for chipping, for ripping amidst this high stress, repeated stress, right, environment. So we went with a luxury grade, commercial grade Congolium linoleum that is not only much more robust, scratch resistant, and tear resistant, but also it's got antibacterial properties in it. So, as you track in dirt, muck, mud, heaven knows what else into the camper, this stuff cleans up so easily, and it doesn't like mold and mildew over time like vinyl does. So you don't start to get that nasty old RV smell over time, as long as you keep up with good maintenance and good hygiene practices. So yeah, tear resistant, scratch resistant, stain resistant, and antibacterial. So Congolium linoleum is one of my favorite. 8 feet wide is one of my favorite. Flush floor kitchen slide is a huge piece for me as well. And I'll just touch on a couple more things that screams like residential features to me. Is check out our countertops and kitchen, right? You notice anything about that countertop? I mean, obviously it's really nice single basin stainless steel sink in there, which is standard on all of our tandem axle coaches, right? But check that out. It's an undermounted kitchen sink, right? So as I'm preparing food, I mean, we've all been there preparing our food and whatnot, and we want to swipe our debris into the kitchen sink. And if you have an overmounted kitchen sink, there's a little lip there. And when you're trying to swipe your crumbs and such, it just spits the crumbs out everywhere else, which was, unacceptable to us because RVing, convenience is a huge feature in RVs. And so we went with an undermounted sink, and it works great and people love it. Another thing is instead of a instead of a, oh shoot, remind me, Jake, we've got a press membrane countertop here instead of a
Vinyl.
laminated, right?
Laminated vinyl, yep.
Yeah, instead of a laminated sink. Now, laminated sink, it's not the end of the world, but they are far more prone to stains, far more prone to water damage, right? As there's just a lot more places where water can seep in on the laminate, especially because they have a little faceplate right here where water can get in and cause that laminated, that cork board to swell. And then over time, it just becomes a dusty mess, right? So we went with a hard top pressed membrane countertop, which is far more durable, scratch resistant, stain resistant, and it's so much easier to clean, folks. And honestly, I could go on and on. I mean, we've got a residential style tri-burner stovetop on our GoPlays, and that front burner on all of our tandem axles, you'll see a 3-burner setup here, and that front burner is actually a high output burner that puts off roughly 9,000 BTUs of gas power, right? And the reason why we did that is because we recognize, people are camping at high elevations, right? And as I go up in elevation, my boiling point, right, decreases, but also, the deprivation of air starts to occur, right? Like the air gets thinner, there's a lot less air at higher elevations. So we installed a high output BTU burner so that you could, despite the air deprivation, you can still get your water boiling quickly. Holy smokes, folks, I'm still going. I mean, the refrigerator, right? We upgraded, we went from a gas electric refrigerator, which is a dual way refrigerator, to strictly a 12 volt. Now, this is fantastic. Why? Because in a 12-volt refrigerator, we can run exclusively off the battery power while you're in transit, while you're in motion, right? Which you can also technically do in a dual way, but in order to do it with a dual way, you either got to pay $2,000 for an inverter, or you have to open up your propane lines in transit, which is actually illegal, right? So in every way, folks, a 12-volt refrigerator is huge. It's also a safety feature, considering that dual ways are the #1 reason for spontaneous combustion in RVs nowadays. And not only that, with it being a 12 volt, but we also have a really nifty little toolbar up here. Yeah, get a good picture of that, Jake. So I can manually adjust my temperature settings, which is fantastic because, as we all know, when I'm sea level, right, things are going to freeze a lot easier, a lot quicker, right? High humidity, and my freezing point isn't as high as it is when I'm high in elevation, right? So, I mean, having that maximum flexibility and able to adjust your temperature as needed is a huge thing in order to give you more flexibility while you're out there braving the elements and so forth. I can keep going. I mean, I want to keep going, honestly. Should I keep going, JB? Or should I shut up? Okay. I think we'll stop there. Those are my top features, Jordan. If you folks are more curious about learning about what else my interior top 10 are, don't hesitate to reach out in the chat, and we'll reach out and we'll talk personally, get to know each other a little bit.
Awesome. So much for that, Mason. This thing is loaded, guys. The GoPlay has so many cool features. It's so well thought out. They've just really, we took all the customer feedback we could get on everything they hated about their RVs, and we tried to eliminate that, and we tried to improve that. So our interior and our exterior are a refinement from customer feedback over time, making this GoPlay one of the most just camp-ready units you can ever have. It is fantastic. I think that concludes our segment for today, everybody. We've learned so much about the GoPlay. If you are interested in learning more, we do have GoPlay inventory that you can shop on our website, and it is available nationwide. We can find a way to get it to you, so don't let that bother you if you're not near a BISH'S RV. We'll make it happen. Again, appreciate everybody today. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for Mason and JB, their expertise in this GoPlay unit. And look forward to talking to you guys again. Like Mason said, you can reach out to us via chat. If you have any further questions, go ahead and you can hit that link up here and check out the GoPlay inventory and let us know. Happy trails, everybody.